Ghost story, the dead stare in her eyes. This is a real-life ghost story. When I was being narrated this real-life ghost story, I was suddenly fuming with bewilderment. These claims, you know, when someone claims to have seen something unorthodox, you can't help but wonder if the person is telling the truth. There is so much of bullshit in the world that you can't really sieve them all apart from the truth. But then there are true ghost stories, creepy tales, and accounts that have you riveted right from the start. You can't help but feel for the people involved and wonder how hard it must have been for them to have lived it all firsthand. This real-life ghost story is one such account that miffs me beyond limit, at the same time piques my interest as I try to put some sense into it. Read on the real-life ghost story here. A real-life ghost story. The Ghost Encounter. Remy, the newlywed bride, had no idea what was in store for her as she moved to her husband's house in a small town in Haryana post-marriage. The excitement of the wedding was yet to sieve down when their lives seemed to have been hit by a meteor of chaos. It so happened that Remy's mother-in-law had sent her to fetch a few items from the nearby shop. As she made her way out, she realized that there was someone standing on a nearby roof. It was from the remotest corner of her eyes that she could make out a distinct silhouette of a man who had his back towards her. So she turned towards the stranger to check. To her surprise, there was nobody there. When she swiveled her head again, she realized that the man had reappeared in the same spot. Scared, she blurted out, "Who's there?" That was it. The moment she was possessed. She could distinctly remember that dusky contour spring towards her as she made a vain attempt to escape. On returning home, Remy's mother-in-law was busy with her household chores when she heard the doorbell ring. Surprised to see Remy back so early, she questioned her, "Did you bring those items?" Remy didn't reply, stared at her blankly. She walked in and sat on a chair. Puzzled, the mother-in-law asked again, "What's wrong? Didn't you get it?" But all Remy did was gawk back at her with a blank face. It gave her the chills. Perplexed by this bizarre demeanor of hers, she at once called for her son. Her busy son told her that he could only make it in the evening, that Remy must be only tired. Spilled milk. The rest of the day crawled at a snail's pace. Remy was found sleeping most of the time. Even when she woke up, she could be seen doing nothing, sitting there staring at the vacuity ahead. Her mother decided to offer her a glass of milk, wondering if it was a weakness that might have had her. As she brought the glass into her vicinity, the milk in the glass turned red. Like magic. Just as she realized that she let go and the glass clanked on the ground, spilling, painting the floor with blood. The sheer horror of it. She was dead scared. That peculiar act had also confirmed her mother-in-law that it was a matter that was beyond her grasp. She ran for the phone again, and the urgency in her tone confirmed her son the gravity of the situation. He rushed home at once. Amidst the freaky gibberish in her tone, her son could make out that it was highly plausible that it was an affair of the unworldly. Primarily because Remy wasn't talking to him either, and staring expressionlessly into his eyes. It read him stories of the dead, morsels of grime. The neighbors came in to look at her. She appeared like an uncouth doll. Reconfirming the family's fears, they told them about the place she might have accidentally ventured into. Many had claimed seeing a ghost there. A young boy had hung himself, and many people had confirmed seeing him wander there. Meanwhile, the mother-in-law offered Remy some food in a plate. Remy hadn't eaten the whole day after all. Her mother-in-law went to fetch water for her, but when she came back, she found the plate intact. The only difference was its content that had changed weirdly somehow. The food had turned stale. Within split seconds, it had decayed as if someone had replaced it with the filth of the gutters. The dead stare never really rested. That eerie feeling was growing up on them. Food was sometimes eaten, sometimes left untouched. Such acts were beyond their comprehension. So, the family called for an exorcist. Rituals followed. An exorcism happened. However, things appeared aloof from normalcy. Dreams of horror. Her husband was dead scared of sleeping with her. He used to have bad dreams, nightmares every single night. Sometimes, he would wake up to grunting noises of her wife. One day, however, things kind of escalated. After which, he decided to sleep in a different room. The workload was too much, and he was so tired that he went straight to bed after having his dinner. When he woke up in the morning, he found himself sleeping in the veranda. Totally taken aback by how or what had caused it, he was reassured that the trouble was not over yet. That's when he decided to look for a better exorcist. The backstory. He scoured for one, and ended up at the doors of one of the most knowledgeable exorcists he had ever come across. She was taken in, and within seconds, the exorcist remarked, "What has her is astoundingly strong." The usual round of questions and answers followed them. Her husband looked at her in awe as he listened to her voice change completely. Within their unending parley, he made out that a guy and a girl were madly in love with each other, but casteism had them separated. When nobody in their families had agreed to their marriage, they had decided to end their lives. They had hung themselves, opting suicide as a way to call closure on their unfulfilled desires. For them, it was the only choice left, their only respite in their disarray, to escape a poking, nibbling, and staring world. After that exorcism was performed, she seemed to have gotten out from a trance. Her husband knew it in his bones when he saw her then. It was the same girl he had married. When she was told everything that she had done, she had no knowledge of it. 3 months. 3 friggin' months had gone by, and she had no memory of it. It was as if she woke up from a deep slumber. The final verdict. It is definitely a bizarre account, a real-life ghost story that had me awestruck the moment I heard it. I have never seen miracles unfold in front of my eyes, and that's why it fills me up with skepticism when I hear the milk turning red or the food going stale. But we can't certainly rule it out since we weren't present there to confirm. Let's just leave it at that.